Broadcasting live from the backstretch at Saratoga, this is the Handicappers Report. Brought to you by CapitalOTBBet.com, the premier online wagering site in New York State. CapitalOTBBet.com. Sign up today. And the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany. Make it to the Clubhouse Racebook.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Handicappers Report, coming to you live on the backstretch of Saratoga Race Course at Clare Court. Alongside Seth, Merrow, I'm Anthony Mormino on another beautiful morning. And this is day 25, which we've been able to say since 1991.
We're in the home stretch here, I suppose, with 16 more days left, as it were. And
quite a home stretch.
It's
a very long stretch, like fairgrounds.
It is a long stretch. But once you get past the halfway point, it does seem like you're moving towards the end, unfortunately. But there's still plenty.
I envy that feeling. I do not feel that until after the Travers, when I feel as if I can get to the finish line like a marathoner. I feel as if when we come up here Sunday morning after the Travers, so far, I have felt as if I knew I could get to the finish line.
Yeah, I don't feel that as much as with the work I still have to do as with if you're a fan, you know, time is getting shorter as far as enjoying the Saratoga meet,
especially with the gap before Belmont reopens, because Aqueduct, because we remember we've talked about it many times where it was a 48-hour turnaround. They ran on Wednesday.
Yeah, I remember years ago I was working for another television production company, and we did a little story on the move up here, which was a huge turnaround. And we were in here in the middle of the night watching them, you know, hook equipment up and whatnot. So now it's a little bit more relaxed on the move up and the move back.
Now they have the gap before and after. Yeah. Very. You talk about where I refer to the old days. The people that were involved in that must be like, great, now I'm done, I'm retired, and it's a walk in the park.
No, it was a crazy kind of hectic, frenetic turnaround there that happened very quickly, and we talked about it. We talked about it a number of times now. That just how things have changed
radically.
Yeah,
you know, I mean, there's
some for the better, some not.
So there's so few components that, you know, anybody. I try to think about this. Anybody under 40 would really be hard pressed to remember the 24-day meet. You know, 2 days off a week, you know, is sensational. I tell my wife all the time, I said, you develop a system in life, whether it's getting here at a certain time, how long it takes. But we have PPs 3 days before. You know, you can download them. You don't have to get out. It's you know, the advanced edition now looks arcane when before it used to look like, you know, the second coming. But now it's
big just, bold red letters up in the
we brought the copy in. You know, it's just you know, I've said this that, you know, we haven't run the first race for week 7, 5, week 5.
Yeah, this is 6.
This is week 6. I haven't run the first race, and I already have, you know, Friday's PPs on the desk. You know, it's just remarkable. I've had them since yesterday, so it's really wonderful. I mean, the place, you know, the clubhouse and the grandstand. The grandstand's been the same since about when I was born. I think they added on, like, I don't know, 65, 66. They added the grandstand, the one that we live in today. But, you know, they changed the first floor clubhouse, 5-day-a-week racing. I think it's great. I do think, and I hope this isn't a result, they are awfully. I had somebody comment to this last night. 6 hours at the racetracks is in the summertime. That can be a test. That can be a test. You know, someone was asking, why is there like 35 minutes between the races? And I said, I just don't think you'll get a straight answer. I said, I watch you on Sundays, and the harness guys are every 20 minutes. You know, they go pretty quick, but there's a different agenda in play. It can be a long day, but it's still beautiful. It's August. An August place to be. You have a quiet 2 days. You weren't, you stretched yourself too thin, did you?
Went to the New York Bread Sale Sunday night.
Sunday night.
That was fun. Had a nice little crowd over there. Saw a lot of familiar faces. Friends at America's Pastime Racing had some horses in the sale. They own and race, obviously, but now they're on the breeding side. I think they had their first win as a breeder just a couple of days ago as well. But they sold some horses. Saw them over there. Saw some other familiar faces as well. So I went over Sunday night. Then Monday it was an afternoon session, and I didn't get a chance.
Does that sell
to go over.
40 years old? How old would you guess that?
The New York bred? Well, if you remember, they used to do. First, they were doing it on the front side. It wasn't a Facing Tipton sale. It was a New York bred.
The breeders,
whatever,
they had their own.
And they would put dirt down on the macadam on the backside, and they did it there for a while on the backside of the grandstand. And they did it there for a while. Then they did it in the backstretch for a while. Again, I'm bad with these, but it's been at the pavilion now for a while. But and again, it's if you haven't gone, that's kind of fun and popular too. The Monday, Tuesday open sale, the select sale is the highlight. But they did all right at the New York Bread Sale this year too. And then last night, I can't say I went to the concert, but last night I took a walk in the park and. So I listened to a little Doobie Brothers.
Jeez, that's a flashback.
On the outside, looking, and if you walk back in the park by the reflecting pool, there was a whole little crowd at any concert night. But the Doobies had a big outdoor, outside the fence crowd last night. One of the bigger I've seen, and they were all like my age.
Well, I'm trying to think that the first. That's like. If Patrick Simmons was 18 years old when he first started, he'd be 70 years old now. Yeah. Is there anybody of the original? They would be almost 80 years old.
Yeah, no, we were talking about that.
I mean,
Well, I said a few years ago, I went over to Tanglewood and watched Roger Daltrey do Tommy with the Boston Pops. And about the middle of the concert, I looked around and said, I'm the youngest guy here.
But that was that?
Isn't Mick Jagger like 80? And
he's
bouncing
80
around the stage.
Mick Jagger is 80. Yeah, well, that's. But I was just trying to think because Michael McDonald left the guy. I mean, the group has evolved like many groups, but the Doobie Brothers, they go back for like in my brain like 73. That's 50 plus.
No, somebody said they were talking with their spouse, and trying to decide, and they kind of kicked things off in 1970.
Okay, that would be too little, but because the first song that I remember was China Grove.
Yeah,
China Grove was the first song, and I think I was about 10, so that was 51 years ago.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, well, if I'm 10, they have to be at least 25-year-olds. They can't be 18-year-olds. And I was like, and then I was thinking because I heard the ad for it, I was like, well, who's in the band? That's how far back are they? Because it sounds like there was a time you'll remember this. You're only slightly older. About 78, 79, 80, 81. They would be either the largest or second largest attraction at SPAC for the summer.
Oh yeah.
They were gigantic, but
I'll
be honest, I didn't even know they were still
Boys
performing.
were always a big draw. Out here.
Jackson Brown was always big up here. There was 3 of them.
Yeah.
But you heard the music.
I stuck around for a couple of songs.
And then it was your bedtime, but not their bedtime?
I headed home. I mean, you're outside, so it's only I think for a lot of people, there were a lot of groups there. I think it was a gorgeous summer night.
Oh, yeah.
It's a social thing more than you're listening to the concert because the audio is not the you're not
formed in 1970 in San Jose.
But yeah, so that was my Tuesday night. So but
they list Patrick Simmons as a Merrow. Oh no, these can't be right.
But you mentioned the PP's coming out.
Oh.
I did use the 2 days. I'm handicapped right through Friday. I'm done. I'm good to go right through Friday, which was nice.
Sometimes you got to. You see a little opportunity, you got to get ahead. And I had a quiet Tuesday, which is rare for me. So I said to Denise, I said, this is, I'll make dinner, I'll cut the lawn. I said, but I mean, I see a chance here to really, you just get ahead and you just take a breather. I mean, you can't, you coast for like I tell people. So my wife said, well, that'll be good. I said, yeah, that means I get about 18 hours where I can do some other things, catch up on. So it's pretty good. But it's a beautiful day. said this before. If you have half a day, you want to come up. Post time is 1:10. We kick off with a grade 1. We mentioned the multiple grade 1s on Sunday and Carson Run. I've known one of the owners for 40 years. He's having a very, difficult year this year, but Carson's Run on the outside made it look easy.
It was very emotional in the winner's
Yes.
circle. And you're referring to Stephen Boucher.
Yes.
And he, they go over his situation in the Saratoga Special if you pick up today's. So he was clearly very emotional. Terry Finley was very emotional. It's named for the son of a gentleman he went to school with, I believe West Point, and he had got a text coming out. I was walking out of the paddock with him when he got it. He said, "Hey, look at this." Cody Dortmund's father texted, "Hey, we got this." He became good friends with the father, with Terry's former classmate, with their sons having similar situations, and it was a lot of fun and very emotional. I was standing watching the big screen, where typically a lot of the West Point partners are, and they were. Terry was there, and Tommy Bellhouse and the partners. The place erupted as he gets the lead and crosses the finish. It was a lot of fun, and as they say, once in the winner's circle, it got very emotional. I shot some video, probably drop it into tomorrow's show. Some winner's circle video and whatnot. Also got some comments after Carl Spackler won. So again, I'll put that all together and probably drop it into tomorrow's show. Let me just alert you here at the track coming up over the next few days. We do have some. First of all, Pick 6 carryover today, $107,000. So if you're a Pick 6 player, keep that in mind. But also, free Stewart's ice cream while supplies last today. You'll have to find them. Usually they're right out behind kind of the clubhouse, relatively near, the paddock, usually, but I'm not sure. But check it out. They've also been over by the jockeys room now. I think it is the Silks area. So you walk around, ask. But while supplies last, you can get a little free ice cream. What? Oh, well, they're by the jocks room, so they're out of sight. Yeah. They're by the Silks room, so they're out of sight. But free ice cream today. Tomorrow, Thoroughbred Aftercare Day. We had Rick Schosberg in last week talking about that, so keep that in mind for tomorrow. You can familiarize yourself with some of the organizations doing good work. And don't forget, Friday, if you like that trucker hat, it's Trucker Hat Giveaway Day coming up on Friday. Let me hit you with what's coming up at Capital OTB this week. It's Prize Wheel Day today at the Clubhouse Racebook, so we'll randomly select people to spin the prize wheel, maybe win a little extra something down at the Racebook today, 711 Central Avenue in Albany. Tomorrow, the Play the Board contest. You can grab a little extra fun tomorrow at the Racebook with the $100 Play the Board contest. Friday, Clubhouse Racebook, $100 Knockout Challenge. So, again, a little extra something for you as there is throughout the month down at the Racebook on Friday. Friday, it's also a Fan Appreciation Day. Couple of spots. Stop by on Friday afternoon if you're a patron at Boulevard Bowl or the Queensbury Branch. Fan Appreciation Day at both spots coming up on Friday. Free food, PPs. There's always a contest, a lot of fun. So, again, Fan Appreciation Day, Boulevard Bowl and Queensbury on Friday. Saturday, King of the Hill contest down at the Clubhouse Racebook. So a little extra fun there. Bounty Bet comes back on Saturday as well. The late Pick 5 here at Saratoga on the Bounty Bet. And again, we will swing with the $150 Pick 3 bankroll on Saturday. Entries will open up on Friday. I whiffed again this past Sunday. But so far, I've made some money 3 Sundays, whiffed a couple Sundays. And I said the last time I didn't have anything. I always go home and take a look. Could I have played something a little bit differently in the last time? There was just no 3-race sequence where I would have had it, and it was the same last Sunday. It's just there was nothing that I was going to switch up that would have worked. It was just one of those days. So we'll try to make it happen again this coming Sunday. Let me also alert you, coming up top of the hour, Racing Across America, Sean Clancy at Saratoga Special Day. Sean will come in, and we finally have a steeplechase race to talk about with our Saratoga Special guys. The Jonathan Shepard comes up today, so we'll talk about that and more with Sean coming up a little bit later after that. John Wager will join us. Directed a film. I had the chance to see it last Thursday night. Off Track, Fate of a Racehorse. Jay Hanley, a prominent owner owned Goodnight Olive amongst others, was the impetus for this. He lost track of a couple of his horses, and so they went into where these horses go, and it's essentially a look at a lot of the aftercare programs. I have a lot of the people on during the year talking about what they're doing, but this gives you a chance to see. And again, it's off-track fate of a racehorse. There was a nice showing downtown last week, and I was there. Asked John to come over, so we'll talk about that. Tom Amello with some trip notes and wagering thoughts, and then our friends Jay Connolly and Ray Howell. We've had them in previous years talking about low rollers. They were the guys kind of sitting at the desk administering that for the fans. No low rollers this year, but you can still see Jay and Ray. They do some handicapping over on the front side in some of the NYRA areas. So we'll do a little handicapping with Jay and Ray a little bit as well. All of that at 10 a.m. Racing Across America.
I don't know what makes things pop up or disappear, but that one intrigues me why it disappeared, because it seemed to be.
I know exactly why it disappeared. The new tote system wasn't jiving with what they were trying to do. So hopefully they'll bring it back next year.
All right, then.
But that was the explanation I got. So
right. We'll see if we can.
But you're absolutely right, because I walk around and I'm not an NYRA person, and people are saying, because I've been promoting it so much.
Absolutely.
I think it's a lot of fun. People walk up to me, hey, where's the low rollers? So it was popular, and it is missed. Hopefully back next year.
All right, then. Time for the DePaula play of the day.
The race for savings is going on now at DePaula Chevrolet. Pick your Chevy, pick your payment, and DePaula delivers. Or every Chevy, 0 down payment, 0 first payment, 0 security.
So come join the family and think DePaula for all your automotive needs.
Hey everybody, Steve Bick back with you for the start of the week and the DePaula play of the day. We're going to go to the 5th. It's the Susie O'Kane. These are state-bred 3-year-old fillies, and the play is absolutely the 7 Money Grab. She has really been a different filly since Horacio De Paz put her on the grass, and she does come from out of it, and I hope Tyler Gaffalione doesn't leave her too much to do, but there is some pace to chase, and 5-1 on Money Grab. I don't know if we're going to get 5-1. She seems to me to be pretty obvious, but can't look elsewhere. There is the pick 6 carryover, of course, as well. This is the second leg. And I think you could lean heavily on Money Grab, the 7, your DePaula play of the day to start the week. Let's get lucky. Talk to you tomorrow.
The race for savings is going on now at DePaula Chevrolet. Pick your Chevy, pick your payment, and DePaula delivers. Or every Chevy, 0 down payment, 0 first payment, 0 security.
So come join me and think DePaula for all your automotive needs.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Someday I think my partner is going to hand out the trophy for this race when one of the family members can't make it.
Hey, why are
if in the future there's a time when one of the Jonathan Shepard family members can't make it, I nominate Seth Merrow to give out the trophy for the Grade 1 Jonathan Shepard handicap.
3, 2, 4, and 6 for me. Aban on top. I thought the race 2 back down at Percy Warner, that's the Iroquois meet, was very good. Now, I will readily admit I'm a little reluctant, given what we saw last time in the Smithwick as the beaten favorite. I'm going to write that off to maybe a little bit of an aberration. I'm going to look for this one to get back on track. And again, came into that Smithwick with a 3-race win streak, including that race down to Percy Warner. I'll look for the rebound. Kayamori in the second slot. Another one that 2 starts back ran well. That was at the end of last season. Then the season opener, I thought was an okay third to kind of add a little fitness. And Zarek the Brave, I'll be interested to see what action this one takes. Comes in from Europe as a European jumper. I wasn't sure what the class level is here, though. Now, maybe being a European jumper where jumpers are a little more prominent, maybe that's enough. But as the 9-5 favorite, I wasn't completely convinced. So for me, 3, 2, 4, and 6.
No, you're in trouble because I don't know anything, and I have the 3 on top. The one thing I went with just taking a flat thing was that, he not so much bounce, but he just, he threw in a clunker But the clunker wasn't like one of those complete clunkers. You just, got exhausted, whatever, and, packed it in, and it looks worse and worse. But I'll definitely give him a chance to rebound because he's 4-1. But
you also have to remember early in the season, we had those really humid days. You wonder if that under 158, if that took it out. Today, on the other hand, is gorgeous.
And what
he
the
gets
heck
4
is
pounds
Percy
off.
Warner? You are truly dialed into that. What
It's
state is it?
it's the Nashville meet, right? The Iroquois.
No, you're saying right to me? No, I don't know. So it's in Tennessee? Is
Yeah.
it one of the bigger
Well,
gatherings?
the Iroquois at grade 1 earlier in the year for the jumpers. That's the highlight at that day.
I'll take your word for it. But I mean, if anything is as appropriate as the fact that race is the Jonathan Shepherd.
Yeah, no.
I mean, talk about dominating something.
And for folks who didn't get your reference, I was probably the biggest Jonathan Shepherd fan.
Probably.
Every summer he would come up here with some horse that was okay down in the Mid-Atlantic, usually an Augustan horse, almost always. That was okay down at Delaware or someplace and come up here and win at a big price. So it became tied on early there. Second race this afternoon at Saratoga. State bred optional claimer, non-winners of 2 other than the coming out of the chute at a mile.
Well, this is interesting on 2 fronts to me. The race goes through the one, Cinderella's Cause. 4 consecutive runner-ups. There are mutual, that you could rationalize a couple of them. You have some distance, and now you're inside going the mile. So the race, to me, undoubtedly goes through Cinderella's Cause. But, we talked about Carson Run, Dylan Davis, a grade 1, he's just riding so well. And I've said this many times about public handicappers or athletes or something that, whether there's a zone or something, I always tell people it's just a matter of you're making the right decisions, whether you're a public handicapper or a jockey. And Dylan has been making the right decisions for so long. I told you, we mentioned you got the trip out to California. When they start to fly you out, that's a big sign that your career has reached the next level. He wins a prestigious grade 1 race up here. And, I would say I don't think all grade 1s are prestigious, but that one was, and the performance was big. So I took Saratoga Kisses. I'm taking a flyer here. This horse has never run close to the Beyer par to win this race. I have a horse on the inside, the one who has, and is the horse to beat. So I'm taking a flyer here that on the outside we can stay close, and maybe Jimmy Ryerson pulls the upset here. Cinderella's Cause, as I mentioned, running well, but with back-to-back finishes, runner-up finishes back-to-back, and then Crystal Hare on the outside at a big price, but 5-1-6.
And I will admit the bridesmaid finishes scare me a little bit. On the numbers, Cinderella's Cause clearly has the edge. 1, 3, 4, and 5 for me clearly has the edge, and so I couldn't get past that. But sometimes those numbers just don't lay over the fact that the horse doesn't want to pass somebody else in the stretch. So we'll see. But you go down a ways. This horse, 5 and 6 starts back, put a couple of nice wins together. So you look at the record. This horse can and does win. But yeah, that we've strung a few of those second place finishes together concerns me. But on the numbers, I couldn't get past Cinderella's Cause. Midtown Lights in the second spot. This horse, the number 2 back, puts that one right in the thick of things with the top pick. Now, the follow-up, not so much, but the follow-up was over a muddy track in a state-bred stakes race. So the race 2 back may be more indicative. And if so, Midnight Lights is very playable. And Echo and Eternity, speaking about being in the zone, Jay Provenzano with Flying P Stable doing very well at the meet as an owner. Usually you don't look at owners, but up here, I think you can often use the owner as a when we see horses drop up here, you look at the ownership and you realize, oh, this is an outfit with plenty of horses waiting to find a stall. So the owner kind of works into the equation in Saratoga, maybe a little more than other places. But Echo and Eternity off the nice win last time, also playable. 1, 3, 4, and 5.
My other fear in that race is that Cinderella's Cause, who's even money in the morning line, is going to be 3-5.
Oh, I'm going to tell you with the edge on the numbers. Although I will say, the Brad Cox runner with that race 2 back is fairly close. I'll be interested to see how they separate because they're 9 to 5 and even money on the morning line. I'll be interested to see where the betting public
And it's a classic example of how we look at racing differently. I mean, I would find Cinderella's cause to be even less appetizing at 3 to 5. You know, my sisters always are befuddled. I go, so the same entity running in the same event is appetizing for you at 8 to 5, but unappetizing at 3 to 5. I said, yes, because it's a long game. It's not just today. So I'll be interested to see the price they go for. On to the third, I think
wait. I thought we were doing break after 2, so I'm going to jump in with
the jump to the dark horse play of the day.
Dark horse play of the day.
Alrighty.
Dark horse play of the day today out in race number 7. Ooh. I thought this was a wide open race, and so I'm rolling the dice here a little bit. I'm going to go with the 10 Ghostly, and I'm interested to see if that 15-1 holds up because again, this is an evenly matched bunch. I thought wide open race, and this one comes in off a win here earlier in the meet with Gaffleone on board. Tyler's riding very well. He's on board again today. So had a win, 14 conditional, goes into an open 12-5. I don't think the class move is going to be anything to provide an obstacle for this horse. You know, not a conditional, but moves down a little bit. And having won the N3 out, again, off the win last time, I'll be happy to take the 15-1. But as it is a dark horse, I was looking at the morning line. We'll see if that holds up. Now, John Toscano, if you look at the daily racing form stats, going back to back, the one last start stat at the bottom of the PP showing up 0 for 18. But then I looked a little deeper. You go back 5 years with this stat, 8 for 64, 13%. And I often think, you know, we see it sometimes with 2-year-olds. Trainers are showing, you know, less than stellar net, maybe trainer, 2-year-old stats. But if you go a little deeper and you think, wasn't this person really good with 2-year-olds? And I think it's just kind of a function of situations sometimes. But as I say, Toscano has gone back-to-back okay in the past. So I'm going to kind of look at that stat as maybe helping our price and not being totally indicative of what this trainer can do coming out of a win. So dark horse play of the day for me today, race number 7, horse number 10, Ghostly Girl. And again, thanks to our friends at the Dark Horse Mercantile and Impressions of Saratoga, both right on Broadway in Saratoga. Thanks to them for their sponsorship of the Dark Horse play of the day.
Take a quick break. When we come back, more from Saratoga.
Generations, Bruce Cerrone and his family have continued the 102-year tradition of delighting their local following and faithful summer crowd with the finest authentic Italian recipes. Classic Italian dishes made with the freshest ingredients, served in a home-like setting. Some things have changed in the last 102 years, but not Pinnell's commitment to the finest in Italian cuisine. Pinnell's Italian Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, just minutes from the track.
Sometimes it pays to go with the flow, to check your worries at the door, to reconnect with your crew, to follow the thrills and the flavor, to roll with it and see where it takes you, to enjoy every minute to its fullest, and to dance like there's no tomorrow. You can do that here at Rivers Casino and Resort Schenectady, where the good times flow.
It only takes one upset to make history, and now you can be part of Saratoga's long tradition at the Dark Horse Mercantile. The Dark Horse Mercantile offers a carefully curated selection of clothing, gifts, and home decor, from one-of-a-kind vintage racing memorabilia to select brands like Barber and Under Armour, as well as exclusive Dark Horse branded merchandise. So celebrate the Dark Horse in all of us at the Dark Horse Mercantile, downtown Saratoga, where the smart bet is always the Dark Horse.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, on a glorious, glorious Wednesday morning trackside for you. Third race, Fillies and Mares, optional claimers, 3X, going a mile 16th on the Melon.
4, 7, 8, and 5. I'll take a look at Midnight Mile. Goes out for Chad Brown off a couple of starts here in the United States. They were pretty good starts. They were also two stakes efforts. So comes over from a European start to the career, put in a number of starts over there, and then came to the United States, tried a couple of stakes, and again, ran well. Now moves into an optional claimer with the C condition. I think should fit snugly in here. Flavian Pratt on board. Immensitude in the second spot. Bill Mott runner. Pretty similar scenario to the top pick. Came over from Europe. Has put in a couple of starts so far, including a stakes try in the latest effort. The numbers are pretty good, but going to be a nice fit, I would think, in with this group today. And not so close. Goes out for the Mary Lou Whitney Stables, Norm Cassie training, and has some early speed. I would expect this horse to potentially be the catch me if you can horse. 30 Thou Kevin has a little early speed. Blissful has occasionally shown some speed, but I think the speed will be not so close in here. And speed is always dangerous. I have it 4, 7, 8, and 5.
I like Midnight Mile also. You've been around a long time when you remember both the horses that the stakes races are named after. Plenty of Grace and Perfect Sting. As a matter of fact, rather sure Plenty of Grace, who was a good turf runner, debuted on dirt here, sprinting.
John Veach.
Yes, Darby Dan.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think went out as a 3-year-old and won the yellow ribbon. Now, when I say this, you should understand there was no Breeders' Cup Filly or Mare turf. The yellow ribbon and the Matriarch and the Flower Bowl, they kind of were the triumvirate. And I think she went out as a 3-year-old and might have paid $100 to win the yellow ribbon. And not too many horses from the East going, but and Perfect Sting was a champion in her own right. I think Midnight Mile, I've said this a couple times, Seth, during the meet already, and that is kind of like the confidence builder. Like they tried these two sides. This is not easy, but this horse has raced well. And what I will point out that the upwardness of the Beyer speed figure rather considerably in the second start, but also look at the time between the races. And that's something obviously the Chad Brown program is into. But as a handicapper, as I said, Midnight Mile, it figured on Independence Day off of the April race, had enough time to re-energize and go forward. And she didn't. I think she does again today and wins. I'm on the outside of the main body, the 8 and the 9. Not so close for Norm Cassie. Good early speed. Get a chance to drop over, hopefully, and then watch this birdie going out for the first start since Keeneland, 4, 8, 9.
Race number 4 this afternoon. These are maiden specials going for $100,000. Again, out of the chute at a mile.
I'm intrigued here because I one of my favorite horses on the card, 617, and I might be double-digit odds on the betting window off the 8-1 morning. Refuse to Lose is the second most veteran in this group, and I like that, where I'm throwing out the last race at 9 furlongs as just an aberration. Now, what that helps me is if I'm right about it being an aberration and we get back to a more competitive race, the last race is so powerful in people's betting mind that I'm going to receive the benefit by a better price. But this horse has already run well enough to advance off and go in the mile. I think we have a chance at a big price. Number 6, Refuse to Lose. Lord, I Wonder from the rail. I'm right on the edge of thinking a regression off of the second day of the meet debut, but I'm going to take a chance with Al Stoll Jr., who I think, right, he won a race the first 3 days. I think that was it. He and Mark Cassie. Mark might have won one the first 4 days, one each. But Al Stoll, limited starters at this meet, but having a great meet. And then Islander on the outside, Steve Asmussen's horse, who I do believe has more than enough time to repeat, to move forward off of adequate debut, 617.
3, 5, 7, and 4. Cost containment on top. It's Chad. It's Klarovich. Win early connections up here at Saratoga. Didn't get it done in the debut, but you look at the breeding. This is a sibling to Drill. 8th in the debut, won the next 2 starts. 26X won the career debut. Tapping Pearl won the debut. Sibling Swell, 9th, and then won. Dawn's Dancer won. It's just on and on. A number of win early siblings, some in debut. Good Magic, Good Sire, first out runners. And again, this is a second time starter, but I look at those first out stats as signaling win early. Good magic with 51 first-time starters this year, 9 wins, 6 seconds, 10 thirds. So I'll look for this one. Experience counts. I'll look for this one to benefit from that debut experience and move forward. Helsia in the second spot. It's the other Chad Brown runner. And just being the other Chad, you have to take an extra look. But these are the kind I always say have the potential to come back improved. Lately raced 2-year-old, hasn't been seen since November, showed a little talent, improving buyers last year. I could see this one off the layoff, as I say, coming back improved and being very, very interesting in here. Third spot, Islander, gun runner, second-time starter from Asmussen. And again, oftentimes his second-time starters can improve. I will say, I'm going to have money on Tipple because I think Tipple 8-1 on the morning line will offer a price. And I debated putting this one on top because this was my dark horse play of the day in the debut effort. I think the horse is better than we saw there. It was 5.5 on the turf, now stretches out on the dirt. 3 of the siblings won their career debut. Now, 2 of them were on synthetic, but I couldn't quite pull the trigger. There wasn't enough there, but the price is going to be right. I thought, should I go back to this one? And as I say, this race is more interesting to me, has some more interesting runners that I think have potential than allowed me to go back to Tipple. But if we get the 8-1 or more, I'll play around with Tipple, certainly. I just want to make the point. Don't sleep on that one. 3, 5, 7, and 4.
On to the fifth.
Wait.
Okay.
Break time.
Oh, 2, 4, 7.
2, 4, and 7.
All right, then. When we come back, stakes action from the spot.
Want to get your career in horse racing off to a fast start? Well, the University of Arizona's Racetrack Industry Program is your winning ticket. The Racetrack Industry Program has served as a springboard to some of the industry's most successful individuals, with a proven track record of job placement right out of college. If you want to earn a degree in the exciting horse racing industry, the Racetrack Industry Program can put you in the winner's circle.
A day at the track isn't complete without a night at the Horseshoe. Great food, hot music, and cold drinks. So why go downtown when all the action's just across from the track? The Horseshoe Inn at the corner of Nelson and Gridley.
Capital OTB is now streaming live on Roku. The RTN Racing channel on Roku lets you watch OTB TV live through your Roku device or your Amazon Fire Stick, rather than being limited to computers and mobile devices, which means you can now watch OTB live wherever you are. Simply open Roku, scroll to find the RTN channel, then click on OTB TV. OTB TV on Roku. Try it now.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. The Handicappers Report coming to you on a glorious kickoff to week 6, day 25. As I said, if you have a couple hours, I don't know everybody has to say for all the races, but what I've always thought, and obviously I'm sitting in this chair, so I probably love horse racing, but I always thought, even as a casual person, coming up for like 2.5 hours up here is quite enjoyable. It's I will say 5.5 hours can become a test on a warm day with a lot of people, but a day like today, you come, you walk up, you have a little lunch, you bet a couple horses, you walk out,
Go watch the band in the back. People watch a little bit.
It's a lot going on. Middle of August, summer is racing by, unbelievably. But also, quick note, the Daily Racing Farm, I'm always intrigued on Wednesday. I always like, to see how the dirt track plays with, a couple days off. I don't think we had much weather, so there's less of an inclination for me to think maybe we had a little change. But the turf, if I believe the Daily Racing Form, the Mellon turf horse, the outer or the main, the rails are listed at 27 feet. On the inner, where we're going to contest the 5th race, Susie O'Kane, is listed as no setting for the rail. So maybe we're back on the hedge. And that would be Naira kind of changing up their rotation, which has been kind of set for about 5 to 7 years, but they change it up. And if you watch my work regularly, I'm a big, awareness level of the rail settings. And in the 5th race, we have 3-year-old state-bred fillies going 1 mile and 16 on the inner turf course named after Susie O'Kane.
6, 2, 7, and 4. Awesome check on top. Horacio DePaula's runner making the third start back, showed nice improvement. Start 1 to start 2, maybe primed to go back to back here with, again, the third start and the move from a fourth place finish 2 back to the win last time. Seasonal debut in Stakes Company. So the fourth was okay, but then followed up in Allowance Company with a nice win. I think is primed to run well here this afternoon. Summer Whirl in the second spot. I debated putting this one on top. In good and improving form for Graham Motion. 3 starts so far. Debuted at the Belmont at Saratoga meet. Back down to New York, ran well, and then broke the maiden here earlier in the meet. Another one I think is primed for a spot like this, and I think has some nice upside potential. And then Money Grab in the third spot. Another Horacio DePaula's runner that tends to come from the back of the pack. You're always up against it a little bit there. But I thought this horse might be an interesting player in with this bunch. Look for this one to be heard from in the lane. 6-2, 7-4.
I'll just touch a couple of things. One is Summer Whirl, an offspring, the daughter of Arrogate. And the 3 stallions that I think of that we lost, that I think hurt the breed. I don't have a financial interest in, but Dubai Millennium, who I think only had like 1 crop, Scat Daddy, who shockingly to me, based on a very, okay on track career, looked as if he was going to be the type to get you a runner on both surfaces at a high level. And now Arrogate, who has an even, I think, shorter stallion career than Scat Daddy, he just looks like it's, with very limited runners, just crazy good. One thing I will say, I'm 6'4", too. Many of them with sex. One thing I want to talk about, though, Horacio DePaula has almost a handful in this race. The 9 Red Burgundy, which neither of us have, it would be like my upset special of the day, where I'm very leery of a big effort. Now, this is being run on the inner, and we're on the outside. So the good news is we get a longer run into the first turn to use our speed. They're taking blinkers off, but the speed, I think, is still going to be there. So I'm 6'4", too. But if I was, those old days of Saver on Public Handicappers or Lawton would be the 9 at a big price here.
Yeah, I might steal it from the outside.
I'm thinking is going to get a good trip. What it comes down to is how much energy you use early to get the position you want.
Is that the trolley out there? That is.
Why would the trolley be in reverse? The trolley's going forward and the beeping is continuing. I don't think it's the trolley.
No, now the trolley's way down the street.
Right, and the beep is still here at the same decibel level.
Well, at least it's not the leaf blower, which we haven't dealt with at all this year. Well, maybe I shouldn't have brought it up.
No, that's fine, because I don't believe in, what do they call it, announcer jinx? The leaf blower went away. Either they got a note or something, but they changed their schedule. And the lawnmower guy over here is not that loud, because he's done it a couple times during our show.
Yeah. 6th race this afternoon, State Bred Maiden Specials, 5.5 on the grass.
It's not good when the director comes out with a smile. 10, 7, and 8. Oh, it's us.
Yeah, no, I immediately when it drove away, I knew exactly what it was.
Okay. Plenty of also eligibles, 3 MTOs, 10 in the main body. I'm 10, 7, 8. I'm on the outside. I see Seth has the Mark Cassie runner, and Mark is having a tremendous meet. I like the fact he's training an offside of disco partner in a turf sprint. I'll take my chances on the outside. So for second, Young at Heart. Brittany Russell sends out the offspring of the Factor, which to me is, I'm happy to receive 8-1. And for third, Mischief Lady. Ed Barker's runner could run better than odds today, but 10, 7, 8.
I really debated putting the 10 on top, but I went 5, 10, 3, and 1. Aniskal on top for me. Christophe Clement runner. American Pharaoh's okay with first-time starters. 35 this year. 6 wins, 7 seconds, 2/3. So good numbers there. 1 racing sibling, Liar's Poker, won the debut in 3 of the first 4. So I thought there was some nice win early there, and I'll tilt towards Aniskal. But yeah, Disco Star. Mark Cassie, 10 for 31 at the meet, but maybe more interestingly, with 2-year-olds, 6 for 16 so far at the meet. This one had 8 siblings, 3 won on their career debut, so there's plenty of win early there. A trainer who's going well, so Disco Star again. I could have switched these up. Teller to win goes out for George Abreu. Lone racing sibling was Shiza Mia, 7th in the debut effort, then won the second start, 6 furlongs on the turf. So I think this one would be live. Kara's Dreamweaver has some win early breeding with at least one of the sibs. Maybe some of the other siblings weren't quite as win early, but experience counts. In the S6, 5-10, 3 and 1.
On to the 7th race, Phillies and Mares going 6 furlongs, claimers.
And again, this was my dark horse race. The 7th I thought was wide open, evenly matched bunch in here. 10-3, the 1 entry, and 6. I took a little shot with Ghostly Girl. Has some nice early positional speed. Comes off a win right here at this meet. 15-1 on the morning line. I'll take that. And I talked about the trainer stats earlier, which may be in the former. And with the one last start, maybe a little bit deceiving because you go back further, they wind up to be better. Fontana Freda going out off a 5th place finish earlier in the meet, but the start before that was good enough to mix it up with this bunch. But again, that's the kind of a group it is. You look at Fontana Freda, these are the kind, they're a little bit inconsistent, but their better effort puts them into the thick of things. So as I say, I think it's kind of wide open. And then in the 3rd spot, Awesome and Marie and Mon Petit Chow. Of those, I prefer the 1A on the outside. Showed some early speed last time against Lesser, faded to be, an okay second, but could be interesting. I think class-wise moves up a half a step and it's going to fit. 10-3, the 1 entry, and 6.
I think often with a high level of frequency, the fact that Seth and I have 6 of the 10 covered, I think even if it's the other 4 are the superfecta, I think it displays a very good idea, which is how wide open this race is. I have 5, 7, and 4 here, and one of my favorite names, and I don't pick because of names, but Perpetual Praise. Ray Handel, who is, had a fantastic meet. I mean, he's just spotted his horses very well, and I gotta say, at least 4 of his 6 winners were convincing winners, like easily, like we are much the best. And I'm thinking Dylan Davis was aboard at least 2 of them, if I remember Susie right. Perpetual Praise gets my top pick here, drops out of New York Bred's allowance. Last time running for about this level, and I have to say that with air quotes because it was a 3L won by a pole. Finally gets back to the lowest level since that victory. Willful Desire first off the claim for Oscar Barrera, and for 3rd, Condiment Girl. Boy, I'll be surprised if we get a big price on here. 5-7-4 in the 7th.
All right, time for another break. We'll come back. We'll complete our look at the 9 race Wednesday card right after this. Stay tuned.
For more than 4 generations, Bruce Cerrone and his family have continued the 102-year tradition of delighting their local following and faithful summer crowd with the finest authentic Italian recipes. Classic Italian dishes made with the freshest ingredients, served in a home-like setting. Some things have changed in the last 102 years, but not Pinnell's commitment to the finest in Italian cuisine. Pinnell's Italian Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, just minutes from the track.
Sometimes it pays to go with the flow, to check your worries at the door, to reconnect with your crew, to follow the thrills and the flavor, to roll with it and see where it takes you, to enjoy every minute to its fullest, and to dance like there's no tomorrow. You can do that here at Rivers Casino and Resort Schenectady, where the good times flow.
The only thing better than watching the races is watching your own racehorse. With nearly 20 years experience in the racing industry, Bonaventure Stables' share-based ownership program enables everyday fans to become part owner of a thoroughbred for far less than you might think, with all the ownership perks at Saratoga, Belmont, Aqueduct, and other great tracks. Experience the thrill and lifestyle of owning your own thoroughbred racehorse. Learn more at bonaventurestables.com.
Eighth race this afternoon at Saratoga. Allowance non-winners are one other than. They're on the grass at 1 mile.
Love these races. 3-4-2 for me. I'm all inside here. We agree on much of them, but not my top pick. And this is just a function of one of my philosophies. And as I looked at this race, I think it's highly contentious, which I like very much so. I mean, preliminary, the 11 that Seth is in the second spot, I agree. I like very much, has to negotiate from the outside, little tough going. But I try not to break this very often. I think fewer than 10% of the time. I just am not going to settle on the 2 or the 4 or the 11, which I have strongly in the mix. But I also have, Destiny Star in the mix. And what I like about Destiny Star is I like the return to the races coming up from Gulfstream Park. I like that race. And the other thing, and I've mentioned this is something I've done long before Seth pointed out the power of the buyers is with these buyer pars, Destiny Star is close to it. I have to run a little bit better, but I'm on the inside. One of the major players is on the outside. Yes, I am surrounded by 2 of the major players, but it's a wide open race, and I want the $22 mutual horse who has to run about 2 lengths faster. I'm on the inside. Luis Saez, it's almost when you fall as a public handicapper, when any athlete, when you start out slow, it's going to be hard for Luis Saez to salvage this meet, whatever that means, because he was so cold in the beginning. But he's in double digits now. So maybe he can get somewhere. But I'll take my chances with the early energy of an outstanding jockey. Chad Brown sends out the 4, second start in a year. I love the comeback race. In my opinion, plenty of time to recover, to move forward off of that comeback race. And then number 2, Beats for Bill Mott. Very impressive in the seasonal debut. Goes out versus winners for the first time. 3-4-2.
4, 11, 2, and 3. Revelita on top for me. It's Chad Brown coming off a seasonal debut that I think the horse can build off of. Beaten favorite there downstate. And now comes up to Saratoga. And again, second start of the season with that one under the belt. Looks solid to me in here, other than the fact that Chad Brown and Klarovich is preliminary. And I almost put this one on top. But you mentioned the post position to me is an obstacle that this one is going to have to overcome. And not to mention a layoff.
Right. And let me interrupt, but and your main opponents got good ones.
Much better, so it's Chad and Klarovich coming off the layoff and showed some talent last year. I'm scared of that horse, but again, from the outside post position, I wasn't quite willing to put it on top, and then Beats in the third spot off the maiden breaker last time for Bill Mott, which looked pretty solid. Lightly raced, maybe still some upside potential. I put yours Destiny Star down the 4th slot. No arguments that horse is a player as well. In the 8th, 4, 11, 2, and 3.
And the finale, 5.5 furlongs on the turf. Starter allowance, optional claimers.
8, 3, 2, and 9. I'm going to put Hilarious Affair on top. Mike Maker, now in the Mike Maker barn, comes up from Gulfstream. I thought the horse, what we saw down at Gulfstream, I thought was going to mix it up nicely with this crew here. So moves into the Mike Maker barn on the move to New York. And again, I think it's going to be a square fit with this particular bunch. Java Buzz off the claim for Rudy. Was a nice winner in that race. Now, class-wise maybe moves up a little bit, but that was off a long layup. It was a big effort earlier in the meet. And so I think class-wise, the horse is going to class up all right in here, given what we saw in that seasonal debut. It might turn out to be a very clever claim. Gaslight Dancer in the third spot. Rick Dutrow trainee also coming off a claim. Sticks at the level of the claim. That race last time was, okay, nothing great. Had a little trouble there, but I think you look down the page, this horse can run better than that, and if so, is very dangerous. In the 9th, 8, 3, 2, and 9.
I'm taking a flyer in here. 6, 9, 3 for me. 6 is Typhoon Fury going out with Dylan Davis for John Toscano. This is second off the claim. Worst case scenario, Seth, the horse wins the maiden claiming race that you get. From our perspective, though, a good return to the races off a little time off, a regression against this level. I'm expecting a move forward, which I clearly need, to run back, to the high 70s, low 80s. But we're 15-1 on the morning line and probably going to receive all of that. For second, I have number 9, Final Verdict, going out for Ed Barker. Loved the last race, even though finishing third. And for third, number 3, Java Buzz. Second start off of the 15-month layoff for Rudy, who has gotten Barnes going much better now after also a slow start. So 6, 9, 3. One quick thing. See the Arlington Million run under the lights?
Yeah.
Nation's Pride. A horse that I think it's fair to say maybe had underperformed for a couple of races, and then that last eighth of a mile, he didn't underperform in the Arlington Million.
West Point okay in there as well?
Yes.
Integration?
Yeah. For a brief moment, I thought they might have won it, but then I just saw the familiar blue silks of Godolphin, and I'm like, no, he's going to get run over the top, and he did.
And you said went late. I didn't hear, and I haven't looked up. I should have done that. Looked up to hear that, but it sounded like almost a Tampa Bay situation from earlier this year. They were having some kind of transmission issues early, which pushed
early. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So
I'm being told in my ear what I just said.
One thing I want to say, like for me, selfishly, because Colonial's at a bad time of year for me, they're going to run a spring meet, so I'm in, I'm going. And the Virginia Derby is going to be a Kentucky. Here's a surprise: is going to be a Kentucky Point race. Yeah. So I can finally go to Colonial Downs, which I drive past it. It looks glorious, the facility, the track. But they're going to run a spring meet. I don't know if all the details are out, but I'm in. It now goes. I have a list to knock off next year. It's going to be tremendous.
I want to report. I want to send you out to Pleasanton to play the golf course.
Do they run only the one meet that's already in the bag?
I think that was the game plan, but with the switching up in Northern California, it wouldn't surprise me.
I looked that up because that is very doable if my beloved Rams are playing the 49ers up in that part.
I wonder if golfing is only during off hour, or can people be out there because you wouldn't want somebody shanking. No.
Generally speaking, you don't want those two things going on at the same. Golfers who have had a few nips and horses, no, that's not really the combination you're seeking.
That's probably absolutely true. All right, top of the hour, Sean Clancy will join us, Saratoga Special, and we finally get to preview a jump race here with a gorgeous day this afternoon. We'll talk about that more. John Wager a little bit later, director of Off Track, Fate of a Racehorse, saw it last week, covers a lot of nice aftercare organizations that are out there. Tom Amello with some trip notes, and Jay Connolly and Ray Howell doing a little handicapping. As I say, last year, we've had them on before a number of times talking about the low rollers, but no low roll, hopefully next year. But still, Jay and Ray are around handicapping in some of the NYWAR facilities. So we'll get some thoughts on this afternoon from Jay and Ray.
Sean, could you move the golf cart so I can go home? He stays, I go. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have some free time, what a great day to come to the races. We'll see you back here tomorrow morning.
This has been the Handicappers Report, brought to you by CapitalOTBBet.com, the premier online wagering site in New York State. CapitalOTBBet.com. Sign up today. And the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany. Make it to the Clubhouse Racebook.